Welcome to Rate the Audits, where we put misconduct on display, explore police and legal content, protect rights and demand accountability. This episode is brought to us by Northern Audits. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Auditor Northern Audits visits Sun Chemical in Rochdale to document the site with his camera and drone. The encounter turns confrontational when one security guard demands he delete his footage while the other tries to stop him from flying his drone. Tensions rise as they threaten police involvement, and when the auditor returns later for his night shots, officers arrive and start policing feelings.
Go over there, near the gates, it's private property.
Past there, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that for all of these sites?
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
So who are you? Sorry, you haven't even got a badge on.
Security.
You're security, okay.
Yeah, so, and you haven't got any pass to go on this site either, love. So it's private property. If you want to come over near the gate, please.
Just over by the gate, alright.
Thank you.
Just before I go over, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around.
No, you're not.
Get some videos.
No, you're not. It's private property. Which part you don't understand?
No, I mean past that way. Past.
You're not allowed to. You've got to ask permission for it. It's still private property.
I'll be on public land though, filming private property. Is that okay? Yeah.
Why are you recording?
That's because I've just said I've come down here to do a bit of a.
You want to go to the gate first before we carry on?
Yeah, okay then. Yeah. What we up to, you getting the boundary, your gate and stuff, and then I'll explain to you what I'm doing.
As the auditor approaches the barrier, he is quickly met by a security guard who instructs him to leave, stating that the area is private property. One noticeable detail is that the guard does not have her SIA badge visible while giving these instructions. In the UK, licensed security staff are expected to display their badge while on duty as part of maintaining transparency and accountability. Rather than escalating the situation, the auditor respects the request and steps back off the property to continue the exchange. This moment illustrates a recurring concern. Members of the public are often expected to follow directions immediately, while the same standards of compliance are not always demonstrated in return.
And then you can decide whether or not you want to call.
You've come on a site which is private property. Now what I've asked, because you've not asked permission of the property people to record. You've come onto this site and recorded without any permission. Now you've got a choice to either record and delete that, or contact the police.
Can I just explain to you then, before you contact the police, what's going on, yeah? What I'm doing is I'm just going to have a little walk around the perimeter and film the private land from public.
Well, you haven't done, have you? You just come on here, onto private property and recorded it.
Yeah,
so I'd like you to delete it, please.
Yeah, but that's because you've asked me to leave, so I'm leaving now, yeah?
No. Would you walk onto anybody's site? Did you think it was private property? It's not. There's a reason why these gates are here and the barrier's here. So please, can you delete that footage? The beginning of you walking onto the site, can you please delete it? If you don't.
The guard's request carries no legal authority, as there is no law in the UK requiring someone to obtain permission to film from a public space or from an area that is openly accessible, unless specific bylaws or legal restrictions apply. Importantly, only a court order can compel someone to delete footage, not security staff, business owners, or even the police. GDPR rules apply to businesses and organizations, not to private individuals who are filming for personal use or journalistic purposes. While the guard threatens to call the police, this appears to be more of a pressure tactic than a legal requirement, since security staff do not have the power to control how lawfully obtained footage is used. This exchange highlights how misunderstandings of UK photography laws can often lead to unnecessary confrontations.
Is it there just to be like, just for show? No.
It's for vehicles.
Right, no it's not. It's for people like you, and that's why the gates are here. If you were coming onto this site, you'd walk through these gates. You haven't. For one, you've not asked permission to record anybody on this site, including me. So, I advise you to delete it off before I get the police involved. You've not written to this company to ask them to do recording.
Do I have to write? Why would I have to write?
You just walked onto this site thinking you've got rights to do. You have not.
Can I just say, don't get the police involved because there's no crime being committed.
There is. It's trespassing. No. You've come onto this property as trespassing, which is a civil suit at the end of the day, but you are recording against the company's policy.
Yeah, it's civil, that's what I mean, so you wouldn't ring the police, would you?
You are recording against a company's policy.
Yeah.
For one, you have to ask if you can come on this side and if you can go onto that side.
The auditor is told that filming is against company policy, but it is important to note that company policies are not laws. A private business can establish internal rules for its staff and visitors, yet those rules do not extend to members of the public unless there is a contractual agreement in place, which is not the case here. Even the guard acknowledges that trespassing is a civil matter, meaning the police generally only become involved if a criminal offense such as aggravated trespass occurs, which has not happened in this situation. At this stage, the guard continues to rely on company policy, but repeating it does not give it legal authority. This moment underlines the difference between private rules and actual laws.
A lot of people think they do, they don't, right? I've been doing this for years, I know the legal sides, okay? So one, it's private property. This is council property, that's council property. Come over to this gate, you come over that gate, it is private property. That's the reason why I am here.
Okay.
Now, I've advised you and I've said it 3 times now. You either delete that footage that you recorded when you're coming on this site, or we will have to inform the police. What have you done?
Please don't ring the police, because there's been no crime committed. Trespass is civil, isn't it? The police don't get involved.
Matter. It's still private property. Whether it's civil or whether it's public or whatever way, it is still trespassing. You have not got permission on the company to come on this site.
The auditor had already complied by leaving the premises when asked, which meant there was no criminal matter for the police to act on. If officers were called, their role would likely be limited to clarifying that no offense had taken place, or alternatively, attempting to persuade the auditor despite having no clear legal grounds. Situations like this often illustrate how police resources can be tied up with calls that stem more from misunderstandings or personal disputes than from actual law-breaking. Valuable time and attention that could be directed toward real incidents may instead be spent on avoidable encounters, ones that might not occur if everyone involved fully understood the boundaries of their authority.
Record me, record this site, and record this wagon coming on site.
Okay, but what you're saying, just let me speak then. So what you're saying is I have to delete this. So you are saying you know the...
delete the area if you're coming up here. From there onwards, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, you know the law.
You are on a public footpath, like you've said to me. You are on a public footpath and you're taking photos, but still has to ask permission to come on site. You walked on site, which is trespassing. You can ask any police officer you like. I used to work with the police, so your choice.
What did you used to do part of the police?
I'm not telling you.
I'm
not telling you.
That's really interesting.
It's your choice to delete you walking into the site.
Have you got a license for your drone?
What kind of license do you need for a drone?
You need a license to come over a private company. You've got to have our permission to fly a drone over our company.
You're saying I'm not going to fly the drone?
Yeah.
You're wrong then. You're wrong. Because I'm definitely going to fly that drone.
No, you're not. If I get the police...
Another security guard soon steps in, this time questioning the auditor's right to operate his drone. He insists that a license is required to fly over private property and even threatens to involve the police. However, under UK drone regulations set by the Civil Aviation Authority, permission from a landowner is not required simply to fly over private property, only to take off or land on it without consent. As long as the drone is operated in unrestricted airspace and within CAA rules, the flight is lawful. Despite this, the guard repeats his claim and warns of police action. Later in the video, when the auditor returns to capture night footage, officers do arrive, but rather than focusing strictly on the law, their attention appears more directed toward addressing the concerns raised by security.
It's just politeness, because I'm PC Hayes and this is my colleague, PC Greenhouse, so...
PC Hayes, PC Greenhouse, yeah.
So what's your name?
I'd rather not give any names, if you know what I mean. I'm just out flying my drone, that's all.
We're asking you your name because we need to ascertain details, because then I can say I've spoken to you, you've told me exactly what's happening, and then I can close the log, but at the minute I don't know who you are.
Yeah. You don't need to know who I am. Are you recording, by the way?
It's always...
Ah, right, you're supposed to tell me before.
No, we don't have to say it. It's always on for...
Look it up in your policy, love. Look it up in your policy. I'm recording. I don't need to tell you I ain't got a policy. You've got a policy. Because you're a data handler. You handle GDPR. I can request a copy of that. Yeah. So, but I would request a copy if I didn't know you were recording.
It is common to hear officers say that they do not need to inform people when their body-worn cameras are recording. However, this is not accurate. The College of Policing's guidance on BWV makes it clear that officers should notify individuals at the earliest opportunity that they are being recorded, unless doing so would compromise safety or an investigation. When this guidance is overlooked, it suggests that training and awareness may be lacking. If officers consistently followed the policies in place, these issues would not arise. Instead, repeated failures to follow clear procedures risk creating the impression that accountability measures are optional rather than an essential part of policing.
Flying a drone, you don't need to know who I am, you don't need to know what I'm doing, you just need to know I'm flying a drone, that's all.
I know, but obviously there's a business there, so you flying a drone is obviously making that business feel uncomfortable, isn't it? Because he doesn't know who you are or why you're doing that. You could be a security risk to that business. He doesn't know you, does he?
Well, yeah, you've come and spoke to me now anyway, so yeah, I'm just, if you just let him know, I'm here flying a drone, and that's it really.
Right, well can you move on somewhere else away from the business?
I won't be moving on anywhere else, this is public land, don't ask me to move on, that's ridiculous.
At the end of the day, you're making him feel insecure.
I don't know who you think you are though, turning up like this and just telling me to move on. Don't tell me to move on.
This moment illustrates poor policing practice. Rather than applying the law objectively, the officer appears more focused on removing the auditor because others are uncomfortable with his presence. This situation is not about crime prevention or genuine public order issues, it is about responding to complaints instead of upholding rights. By telling the auditor to move on, the officer treats someone acting within the law as if they were a problem, despite having every right to remain there. Policing should always be grounded in facts and legal principles, not in feelings or convenience. Allowing lawful activities to be curtailed simply because someone objects risks setting a troubling precedent where rights can be undermined by preference rather than protected by law.
I'm asking you politely that you're making him feel insecure because he's not aware of who you are. You're not even telling me who you are.
I'm not going to tell you who I am because I don't need to, there's no law.
You don't know who you are, that is a business, he's there for security purposes and you're outside flying drones.
Can I just remind you both that you're here to uphold the law, you've got to go by laws, yeah? You can't...
Absolutely. And I'm not.
The auditor reminds the officer that her duty is to uphold the law, stating, "You've got to go by the laws." Rather than addressing this point, the officer responds, "I'm not breaking any laws," which misses the issue entirely. The concern is not whether the officer herself is committing an offense, but whether she is applying the law correctly and fairly. Her role is to protect legal rights, yet in this moment her attention appears more focused on the security guard's concerns than on ensuring the auditor is treated lawfully. This exchange highlights a wider problem within policing, where officers sometimes prioritize keeping complainants satisfied over enforcing the law as it is written.
Just doing a legal activity.
That, but if you just go a little bit further down there, away from the business entrance, you're not going to make him feel uncomfortable, are you? You can appreciate though that without their permission it can make them feel a little bit uncomfortable because they don't know why you're here, do they?
Well, the thing is...
If you get permission to do that, then I'm sure they'll be more than happy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, the thing is, one, I don't need to, but two, sometimes I do. But the thing is, what happens is that guy first came out there, he came out, and instead of just coming up to me and talking to me and saying, "Hiya, what are you doing? How are you flying a drone?" and all that kind of stuff, he ran up to me with a strobe light flashing at me, saying, "I've called the police on you," and that's that. And then he run back in his hut, turned all lights out. So at that point, I'm thinking, well, what do I do? Do I go down and say to him, "Don't worry, mate, it's just a drone"? You know what I mean?
Because potentially he's quite scared because he doesn't know who you are or what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? So he's in fear, and you can understand that, can't you?
This situation raises important questions about communication within the security team. If the day shift staff were already aware of the auditor's presence, why was this information not passed on to the night shift? Proper handover procedures could have prevented the escalation entirely. Instead, the night guard, unaware of the earlier interactions, reacted with uncertainty and involved the police unnecessarily. Clear internal communication and training on how to handle lawful public filming would have avoided the situation. Rather than escalating matters and drawing in officers, a simple briefing from the previous shift could have provided reassurance and prevented yet another avoidable call-out.
You can't cause fear. You can't cause fear by turning up on a public land and flying a drone.
Anybody can cause anybody fear.
I know, but from a legal standpoint, I'm saying...
We all have our own emotions and our own feelings.
Yeah.
Everybody can make anybody feel unfair, and that's clearly what you did. Yeah.
Well,
you made him
from a
feel
legal
unfair.
standpoint, I haven't created fear or anything like that. From a legal standpoint,
for him, yeah.
A lot of people phone the police when you fly a drone over the premises, but it's because they don't know the law.
They don't know you, they don't know that you've got a YouTube channel, and they don't know what your interests are. You've just told us you're interested in buildings, you're doing nighttime shots, and now you've just told my colleague you've got a YouTube channel, but they don't know that. And this is, I'm not saying it's the same person.
Yeah, he never asked, but...
Within the last 4 days, we've had 2 calls about people flying drones here. So just because it's so close together, it's gonna spike a little bit of concern.
If somebody's gonna break into that and potentially cause damage, it's gonna make a massive effect on the whole area, isn't it? So they have to be very aware. So if they don't know you're coming, they don't know what you're here for, do they? So it's gonna make them feel a bit sort of worried, especially when it's a chemical place.
I don't want to do something wrong by you and act on something or say something or do something when I don't know it's right.
Well, the thing is, what I try to do is I try to avoid detaining arrests, so I can let you know if you need to know anything, but I will let you know today's flight has been 100% lawful.
Right, that's fine. We just asked for your name, just so we knew who you were.
At the end of the day, I appreciate that, but just as a person, it made him feel a bit sort of frightened for him to phone us. So just be aware of other people, do you know what I mean? And you're not doing anything illegal. You can't control somebody's feelings. And at the end of the day, if he's there for a security purpose, it's going to make him feel frightened because you don't know who you are. Maybe before you do it, go and speak to him.
This incident highlights a serious gap in communication within the security team. If the day shift staff were already aware of the auditor's presence, that information should have been passed on to the night shift. A proper handover could have prevented the escalation entirely. Instead, the night guard, left unaware of earlier interactions, responded with uncertainty and chose to involve the police unnecessarily. Stronger internal communication and better training on how to respond to lawful public filming would have made the situation far easier to manage. What could have been resolved with a simple briefing instead resulted in wasted police time and avoidable tension.
Yeah, that's fine, I'm aware of it, it's okay. I'm not threatened by it, that's alright, but at the end of the day, he doesn't know what's going on.
But just have a quick word with him, put his mind at rest, and then, hopefully he'll be a bit happier, won't he?
Yeah, potentially.
We won't speak to him though, because obviously,
Go on then, let's go speak to him.
It may well be that we'll go on our own. It's fine. Just to not cause any issues, but we'll go and speak to him, and we can put his mind at ease that we've had a conversation with you.
Okay then.
Okay?
Go on then.
Leave you to enjoy the rest of your night, sir.
Excellent, thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
As the officers stepped aside to reassure the security guard, this encounter demonstrated how both the business and the police failed to handle the situation properly. Instead of focusing on the law, the officers directed their efforts toward easing the guard's concerns, prioritizing emotions over facts. The root of the issue lay in poor communication within the security team. Had the day shift properly briefed the night shift, the guard would not have reacted out of uncertainty and involved the police in a matter that was never theirs to address. This lack of coordination created unnecessary escalation and wasted resources. The greater concern, however, was the police response. Rather than clarifying the law and ensuring the auditor's rights were respected, the officers appeared to validate the guard's misunderstanding, reinforcing the idea that discomfort can override lawful activity. Until policing consistently reflects legal principles over personal feelings, similar situations will continue to arise. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps support this independent coverage. Also, be sure to check out Northern Audits. His channel is linked in the description, so show him some support. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audits, and I'll see you in the next one.